Welcome to Booming Your Bottom Line, a weekly podcast on how to find, serve, and keep local boomer consumers as your customers. If you are a small business owner, then this podcast is for you. Hosted by Mark Hager, CEO of Age in Place Networks, publisher of AgeInPlace.com, and expert consultant in the boomer consumer industry. And Aaron Murphy, architect, certified Aging in Place specialist, national speaker, and published author on Aging in Place. These two small business owners are going to help you learn what you need to know and step by step what you need to do to grow your company through serving the rapidly growing older consumer niche. Now, get ready to supercharge your business.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Booming Your Bottom Line. This week we're shifting gears after a great 3-part series on knowing your customer. Now if you missed that, be sure to go to ageinplace.com/smallbusiness to our archive shows. You can also subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher. Now today we continue onward and upward with you and for your small business so you can boom your bottom line. My co-host Aaron Murphy is here as well, and he's quite versed in today's subject. So get out your notepads and let's get started. Aaron, why don't you give us a brief overview of why we're talking today about the importance of customer education?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's 3 main reasons why you absolutely must educate your customer. Number 1 is going to be so that they can learn more about their current and future lives and how to plan for that and get their needs met. Number 2 is going to be so that they can learn how your company, your products or services, and ideals fall in line with what they want for their own lives. And then number 3, and this is critical long-term and short-term actually, is we want them to grow to view you as the expert. So we're going to talk about all 3 of these in pretty good detail today. Let's jump right into it.
Yeah, this is going to be a great discussion. I would just like to say that in my mind, educating your customers is one of the most important things you can do. You see, there's a fact. I don't know if it's really a fact. Maybe it's an observation that I see continually proven true. It's something that so many business owners overlook, and and knowing that it happens can totally revolutionize your business. Now, Steve Jobs knew it, and Seth Godin knows it. Robert Kiyosaki knows it. Oprah knows it. The list is long. There are tons of millionaires that have been made with this knowledge. And companies have been built on this single idea and succeeded beyond the wildest expectations. And that thing is that people don't know what they need. Let that sink in for a minute. People don't know what they need.
And Mark, I'm going to say, having been on stage 100 times, they also don't know what they don't know.
Yeah, that's a great point. You're absolutely right. Lots of people have an idea of things they want. They may have even given some thought to, how great it might be if they had X, or even partially planned for Y. But by and large, they don't know what they need. Now, I'm not trying to be negative or talking down to anybody, that's for sure. It's a fact of life. It's human nature. Most people have spent the majority of their lives not having any idea what they needed beyond the basics, like money, finding and keeping a place to live, and providing food for their family. Now that's a long stretch of info, but it's critical that you understand that thing before you can dig in with this on the next items.
Right. Educating your customers sounds pretty broad and open-minded, and when we touch on the beginning with real general overarching terms, I get that can be a bit of a mental gap. So why don't we break that down a little bit into manageable, bite-sized parts like the elephant we talk about. So let's give it to them in pieces that the small business owner can digest. First, let's talk about your customer and their current lives. We talked previously about the fact that our goal was to build those customer snapshots or personas in previous episodes when we were collecting general data about your client as a whole, and then supplementing that with the actual input that we asked you to get from them. This is how you're getting that visual sample of some of those typical customers you can use. But remember, we're not stereotyping, it's just data. These snapshots of a typical customer give you a tangible resource that help you make well-informed decisions. But, and extremely important to this particular conversation, it also helps you get a view into their lives to see what their needs are,
Yep.
whether they know it or not. That's part of the reason you are there for them, is to educate them about their wants and needs. So, with that valuable information in hand and a little bit of continued self-education on your own part, you are able to show them that you understand them, critical for trust and rapport,
Yep.
and help them learn how they can solve some of their problems. You see, you might not realize this, but they're not that different than you or millions of other people. You're not that different than millions of other people. If we get right down to it, right? Many very large corporations spend millions of dollars analyzing you as a persona or a snapshot, just like we've talked about. We're giving you that same concept and bringing it into small business. So now you know, as a business owner, how you can apply that knowledge and help them solve problems that they have right now. This education you give them is going to help them on their own realize that you are their personal expert on your subject matter, your products or services.
Absolutely. And being able to do that is definitely going to raise you up in their eyes. Okay, so what about their future lives?
Okay, so that does bring us to the second portion of this first point, helping them envision their future selves. By having that knowledge of them, their demographic as a whole, and the knowledge of what older people are experiencing as we all age, you're in a prime position to help educate them about what to expect in the future and what they can do about those needs now and to plan for them. Not to mention, now you've got a history with them, you've helped them previously, you're going to become a natural choice, top of mind. You've heard of a reticular activator, right? Who's top of mind. When they need additional education or resources, they're going to think of you. That's why we're doing this. That's our goal. Repeat customers are way easier to get than new ones.
That's for sure. So now you can see the theory of why you educate them. Now they need to believe that you're relevant. In other words, how your company, products, services, and ideals fall in line with what they want for themselves. And this is crucial because your relevance to them is going to equate to a value to you, and we're going to talk about that in next week's episode. And that's going to be of incredible importance to you. Now, when we're talking about relevance in the customer's mind, you have to understand that it's unique to the individual. Thankfully, you're going to be able to establish a set of standards for your company that's going to make increasing your relevance easier, but also something that you can reproduce. Now, we're going to get more into that in later episodes, but for now, let's take a look at what you've accomplished so far. If you followed all these steps that we've been talking about in the series that we did on knowing your customer, you will have learned about their needs, life changes, lifestyle, etc. in general. You've learned some information about them as individuals from talking to them, doing surveys or what have you. And you've also leveraged that knowledge to help them by educating and guiding them in making decisions that solve problems in their lives. And as a side, you've also started making changes in your business, although perhaps still in the infancy state, that make it a better, easier, more enjoyable, and more effective choice for them to do business with you.
Absolutely. And as a business owner, one of my favorite parts of that whole segment you just spoke to is the fact that you're increasing the efficiency and you're starting scripts and systems in your business, because scalability, a whole nother conversation, but the sellability of your business has everything to do with script systems and scalability. But back to your point, the kicker of this whole thing is some of the decisions that they have made, those clients, one of the decisions they probably already made was to purchase your product or service, right? So we've already created our first win with your clients.
Yep. And very importantly, you've shown a key interest in their well-being. Essentially, you've endeared yourself to them. And that brings us to seeing how your company, products, services, and ideals fall in line for what they want for their life. You've shown them that you care enough to teach and lead them where they need to go. You're knowledgeable, you're experienced, you're responsive, you're caring, and you can put that all into action. Essentially, you're beginning to establish yourself as an expert that works for them.
Well said.
So this is a great start to diving in on understanding how educating will make you the small business owner, your client's personal expert in subject matters around your products and services. Now, I know Aaron has a lot more to say about the how you can become an expert in your niche over time, whether that's locally, regionally, or nationally, if that's your intent. So we're going to go ahead and break that part, the how to become an expert, into part 2 for next week.
Great. Good. And I do want to make sure we always give folks actionable items. We promised we would every week as a takeaway. So we want to make sure you have something at the end of every 15-minute segment that we do for you that you can start to implement before we meet up again. So for this week, your action is to start thinking about how you can educate your clients if you don't do it yet, or how you can do it better or ramp that up. So what is your subject matter that you're the expert in, or you want to be seen as the expert in? Where do you need to spend more time learning if you don't think that you've got the deep understanding of that?
Yep.
What's the best vehicle to relay that education to your clients? It could be, newspaper ads, or it could be teaching through the Parks and Rec as a class, right? There's so many. We'll get into that. But I'd like you to be... I'd like you to go ahead and be keeping track. I hope you guys have started a journal or a notepad that's specific to Booming Your Bottom Line podcast with Mark and I for your small business, so that you can go back and refer to that. If you haven't, let's have you make that one of your actionable items as well. Get caught up on the series, get up to speed, and keep all this in one place. We're going to compare notes, so to speak, next week when we talk about some of the ways Mark and I have implemented this system and reached personal successes and business goals of our own through personal case studies just like ours. We're going to share those with you next week. We'll get into the how.
Right. So I think we're going to go ahead and stop for the day. And we want to thank you for tuning in. We certainly hope that you found this valuable because, helping you be better at what you're doing, that's the whole reason we're here. Right. We really appreciate hearing from the folks about the value that they're getting out of these podcasts and the stuff that we put together.
We do, yeah. And just as a reminder, if you really want to get fully plugged in with us and our small business community here at ageandplace.com, and we'll start maybe using the acronym as you get to know us, BYL or BYBL for Booming Your Bottom Line. If you want to get involved with us at that level, go ahead and receive more of our information just like we have here by going to ageandplace.com. So if you're ready to say that 2015 is going to be that year where you're going to take control of your business and take it to the next level, if you want to start a habit of growth that's going to help you realize your personal dreams and the dreams for your family, we want you to go ahead and subscribe to this podcast on our website today. We have an entire year laid out for you of these podcasts every week, step by step. And we're going to break every section of this small business thought process about the boomer consumer and how to connect and engage and relate and sell politely in the right way to them over this whole year. So get on board with us. We'd love to have you, and we'd love to hear what you're liking about what we're doing.
Absolutely. So if you've enjoyed this episode, if you don't mind, please go to iTunes and search for Booming Your Bottom Line and leave us a 5-star review. That not only encourages us to keep making these, but also it helps other people find the podcast in iTunes. And also remember that we're now available on Stitcher.
So thanks for being here. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Be well, be blessed, and boom your bottom line.
See ya.
Thanks so much for listening to Booming Your Bottom Line with Mark Hager and Aaron Murphy. To learn more about starting, building, and growing a local business that profits in the older consumer niche, just visit the website at ageandplace.com/smallbusiness. And don't forget to sign up for the newsletter while you're there. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can email us at smallbusiness@ageandplace.com. Fill out the contact form on the website or give us a ring at 865-236-1247. Booming Your Bottom Line is a joint venture of ageandplace.com and Empowering the Mature Mind.